Welcome to my kitchen today again. I'm gonna be making a Hungarian dish called Palacsinta. This is a delicacy in a way that it could be time consuming to make it, but most people make it into a dessert. Today I'm gonna show you two ways of making it, one for desserts and the other one is for savory meals. So you're gonna need flour, eggs, milk and club soda, and of course some salt, and we will need sugar for the dessert one. So I'm gonna actually make the two batches side by side. One batch will be for the savory and one batch will be for the dessert. They're identical in a way that except for the sugar. So each starts out with one whole egg, a little bit of salt, a very tiny bit of salt. Whisk it up. A quarter cup of milk. Just want the egg to mix up with the milk, and then about a cup of flour. You can always adjust this and make more, double up depending on how many you want to do. Mix this up until it's smooth. And this is where you're gonna start adding the club soda. The club soda is really optional. You can make it out of regular water. But this tends to make it a little bit, so it's just seltzer, club soda, either. It makes it a little bit lighter, I think. More fluffy. Of course, not if you're gonna mix it up and just leave it there. You're gonna have to cook it right away. I'm not even measuring the seltzer. It's just by feel. But I'm suspecting I'm gonna probably add about a cup of club soda seltzer. If you ever made pancake, it's similar to that, right? Except you want to make this a little bit liquidier, because we're gonna actually want to cook these thin versus, pancakes, those are pretty thick, right? And the thinner the liquid, the more it's gonna spread in the frying pan. So this I'm happy with. This is gonna be used for the savory. I'm gonna set that aside, and now we work on the sweet. So the sweet will need sugar, just a little bit. I would say a tablespoon, not even that much. If you put too much sugar in your batter, it's gonna burn. Same process, seltzer. Some people also put some melted butter in here or some oil, but I'm gonna try to keep this pretty light today. The last thing you want to do is make it lumpy. If you make it too liquidy to begin with, it may get lumpy. You have to have some friction, so that's why you start out with a thicker batter when you're mixing it with the flour. Okay, so when this is smooth, then you can dilute it even more. It's gonna be interesting to measure if I actually got it both the same. Now sometimes when I'm getting ready to actually cook this, I may put some more soda in it. So this soda bottle is 32 ounces, right? I believe so. So that's 4 cups. So I used about 2 cups between these two. Again, it's a 1 cup each, right? Okay, so now next we're gonna start frying them, so that's the tricky part. For this you need a non-stick pan. You cannot really do this in cast iron or stainless steel unless you want to use a whole bunch of oil maybe, but I'm gonna turn it up high, and you're gonna need some kind of fat. I'm gonna use just vegetable oil. Don't use any olive oil for this, anything that has some of flavor. And some people use melted butter, so I'm gonna try to keep the oil very low. And just make sure your pan is well oiled, including sort of like the side of it a little bit, because it's gonna go up there a little bit. And this is not the best non-stick pan, so oftentimes the first Palacsinta I make in it may not come out right, but then it gets better as I go. So you want to make this really hot, because that's how it's gonna come away from the pan faster. I'm gonna use a ladle to get my batter into the pan, but you can use like a measuring cup or just a regular cup, or just pour directly in here if you know how much you want. I like to kind of measure it. So again, I'm doing the savory first, and that's just to remind myself. Now when I look at this with the ladle, I'm finding it's a little bit too thick. I might put a little bit more seltzer in this. I can smell the oil now, so I'll mix this up, and as I go I keep mixing it because it tends to settle. So I'll take a ladle full. See, it's sizzling. I like to pick up my pan and swirl it around so it goes across around the pan. And then I'm gonna use a dinner knife that has no point to kind of go around the side to loosen it up. I might turn down the heat just 1 notch, not medium, but it's between medium and high. But you really want to keep it pretty high because you want to get this cooked quickly. And especially if you're cooking a whole bunch, it takes time for each of them to cook, and then once you get good at it, you can probably do 2 pans at a time. I never did that, so I'd rather just take my time. So then you reach under with the knife, and you see how this is ripping a little bit. It only takes really less than a minute, and I don't know if I want to time this, but you guys will have a feel for it eventually. It needs a little practice. On the next one, I'll try to point out what you're looking for, but definitely you're going to see that it kind of dries out around the edge. And the second side always takes a lot less time to do than the first side was. All you're looking for is brownness. And then you slide it onto a plate. And now, back onto the heat. A little more oil, not as much as initially. And then again, mix up your batter. Pour it in the middle and just roll it around, not too hard. And sometimes you see it doesn't take the whole ladle. I'll put that back. So you see how it bubbles up, and on the edges it's already dried up, and then the dryness gonna move into more in the middle, like it's dry over there, meaning it's not liquidy anymore. So you wait until there are no liquid parts. In the meantime, you could loosen it up if you need to, but you can see this is actually pretty loose. And you see how it gets dry really fast. I can see maybe a little bit here that's still maybe a little bit liquidy here. And sometimes if you made it too thick, you can actually let that flow down onto the side and under if you need to, but I'm not going to do that. So right now you see how it changed color throughout except here. I can now flip this and make sure it will cook on that side. And on this side it's not just maybe 15 seconds. This is real time, so you can judge yourself. And again, I'm just looking under it to make sure that it looks brown. So the first side is always just more evenly brown, and the second side is going to be more spotty like that. It's just how it cooks. You can see the one I did already. Spotty on the back side, and the first side is kind of more evenly brown. So just keep doing this over and over until it's all done. It's not time consuming, but if you're doing like 50 of these, it might take you an hour. And these things are really delicious, so they go fast. When I make it, people eat at least 3 with the first serving, and then they would come back an hour later, another 2. So yeah, it's very popular with kids and adults. And I'm gonna show you how I feel these. So these are again the savory ones. I'm gonna get to also the sweet one, and I'm gonna try to keep them separate so I can show you how to fill these. So come back. I'm giving you a close-up on the drying process I described. How do you know when it's cooked? You will see that potentially you'll see the color changing as it cooks. So it's starting to cook on this side here as well. And you can see the slight color change. This is still raw. And now it's getting all more yellowish. You can see the whiteness where it's raw. So I'm gonna get ready to flip this. So I'm done making the palacsintas. Each batch will make you 6 palacsintas, which a batch is 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, quarter cup of milk, and a cup of seltzer. So that makes 6 palacsintas. So you can obviously double, triple, quadruple that recipe to make it however many you need. As I said, you need more than 1 per person, that's for sure. So this is the sweet one, and the traditionally what you would do is very simple, is stuff it with fruit jam. I have some homemade raspberry jam, and you can decide which side it should be outside. Do you like this color or do you like this color? I usually like this to be the outside, so I flip it over and I can stuff it as many tablespoons of jam I like. Let's just start with 1, and you can serve it a couple of different ways. You can roll it or you can fold it. So traditionally it is rolled, and you serve it like that. Or you can fold it, which is just you spread it and then you fold it into a triangle, and then you serve it that way. And also you can serve it with chocolate syrup. And when I do serve it with chocolate syrup, I fold them like this, and then I just put the syrup on the top. Of course, you have seen crepes Suzette being made as well. They make it this way as well, and a bunch of butter and some alcohol they burn and whatever they do, but that's too fancy for me. So the other non-traditional as much filling is the cheesecake filling, which is cream cheese, and I'm only gonna make a half a block, so this is 4 ounces of cream cheese. I'm gonna add half a cup of powdered sugar, or you can use regular sugar, and this measurement is a quarter cup, so I'm gonna put 2 of these. It doesn't have to be exact. And you would incorporate this. Probably would be better to do it with electric mixer, but you can also put a little bit of milk in this just to loosen it up. Tablespoon. So you want to also put in a little bit of vanilla, just a few drops. Similar to the filling that I use for my pumpkin roll, right? Delicious cream cheese filling. Except I'm not gonna put butter in this today. And lastly, I like to add some raisins. So as you can see, this is a little bit more fancy than just a jam. Mix that up, and similarly what you did here, you would spread this on the palacsinta, fold it up, and for this one, again, I like, as I said, this side out, so flip it over. Take a good blob, spread it out, make sure it's on both ends, And for this one, I'm gonna fold, and that's gonna be served that way. And then you can get fancy and just sprinkle some powdered sugar on the top, but this looks pretty good to me. Enjoy! The way I serve my chicken paprikash is with savory palacsinta. So here are my palacsintas that I made earlier. I have my chicken paprikash I made earlier as well. So I'm gonna take a serving of that. And traditionally this would be rolled up, but you can fold it if you like. It's sort of like a burrito. So I fold it. Usually you want to serve more than one out of per serving. So I'll do another one. And now you want to top this with just straight sour cream, or you can take some of the sauce of the chicken paprikash, mix it up with the sour cream, and then use that flavored sour cream to top this. And I can probably make this a little bit more loose. I'm gonna put a little bit of milk. I put a tablespoon of milk because I didn't have enough sauce on the chicken. You want to be able to kind of spoon this over, so you can get fancy and do whatever patterns you want, or just across make some waves. I'm not good at this, so it is what it is. But that's a beautiful serving of savory palacsinta with chicken paprikash filling. Enjoy!